What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, here with a special edition of, I guess, TSR Live in the afternoon. I got my man Carlos of blacklabellogic.com. I think Rollo Tomasi is supposed to join us here. I've got them via Google Hangouts. If you guys look over my shoulder, you guys will be able to see those guys. Carlos, do you read me, man? Can you hear me? All right, perfect. I just want... Hang on one second. There we go. Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you just fine. So I guess sort of give everyone sort of a brief description. I just read through the Twitter thread. Basically, it sounded to me like the guy was bitching and complaining that we don't let girls in and blah 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 blah. Right? Okay. So I, true to Donovan Sharpe form, I said, all right, if you have something to say, let's not go back and forth on Twitter like a bunch of fucking females. Go ahead and give us a call in. So at Yay Capitalism, it's actually in the title for Twitter. So at Yay Capitalism, go ahead and call me up. 914-205-5356, 914-205-5356, and we will hash this out. So Carlos, give us sort of the rundown on what happened here.
Well, it was more or less, I put out an essay this morning called Of Recent and Red Pill Women, which was more or less my analysis of women's role in the Red Pill, because I viewed the Red Pill as mostly a space where men get together, we share advice, we help each other, and we build each other up in order to be more successful in life in general, but with a special focus on intersexual dynamics. And the counter-argument here was the red pill is not a male, I think the term was treehouse or something like that, because anyone can more or less come in and partake, and everyone is free to read my content, Rollo's content. They can watch you on TSR Live. Well, you are behind the paywall, which does make it hard to listen to you during my cardio like I used to do. But anyway, we got into this debate on whether or not the red pill is a male space and what the role of women within the red pill is.
Wow. And
my basic argument is, if you agree with the concept of female solipsism, which is a woman's inability to distinguish between reality and her own self-perception, when it comes to her own behavior, not in general, because if women couldn't tell the difference between what their internal perception is and what the external perception is, they couldn't do physics or math or basically anything. But I just happen to think when it comes to intersexual dynamics, there is a cognitive blind spot.
Okay.
And
okay. Well, I think I've actually got the guy on the line now. Let me see if this is him. All right, 814, is this you at Yay Capitalism?
Yes, you can call me Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan. All right, so let's have it out here. So from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you believe that the manosphere, the red pill, is not a male space, or we just don't like? What's your stance here? What's your position?
Well, I actually tweeted this over to Carlos is his name, yeah. That if someone came in and asked me, what's red pill? There's a group of guys you need to talk to, or there's a group of guys you need to join. I would point him to like Rollo's blog. I would point him to maybe your podcast. I would point him to, I think it's called the Red Man podcast. I would point him to information sources. So I get that there's like kind of like a scope view of the red pill where people kind of conglomerate it with the manosphere and a whole bunch of other stuff. But in my mind, it's a set of ideas. And you can just a set of ideas. And if you talk about ideas in a public forum, which Twitter is like, unless you block someone or mute them or whatever, it's come and talk, right? It's a public forum. And so when people talk about, or when you guys say something along the lines of, only men should talk about this, I'm sitting here and going like, okay, regardless of the moral idea behind it, which I get there is like like guys talk, run along, sweetie. Like I get that, but you do that in private conversations. Right. So, for example, I'm a member of the Fraternity of Excellence, which is a men-only group, and so I have no problem with the idea of like men only, because if I have a thing I want to talk about that's only with other men, I go to that group because it's men only. Versus, I can't go on Twitter. In my mind, I can't go on Twitter and say, "Oh man, I really got to talk about this stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to put this on public forum so that anyone can read it." But if you women who make up 50% of Twitter, if you guys start talking about it, I'm going to get really mad.
Wait, hold on, back up. You said, hold on. You cut out there. You said if you talk about it, I'm gonna get what?
When you get mad, I'm saying that cool. I'm saying that a little bit exaggerated, but if you know what I'm saying, like if you talk about something in a public forum, you have to expect that people are going to respond publicly.
Yes, absolutely. But when people But when people respond publicly, they need to expect that we're going to fire back. Here's the thing, and I'll let Carlos jump in here in just a minute. The thing is this: as far as I'm concerned. Actually, I'm not even going to preface this with as far as I'm concerned, or it's my opinion. This is just the way women are. And I hope women are watching this because I want them to listen and listen good. One of the very few reasons that women, if not the only reason women try to invade male spaces is for attention. And I don't know if that's what anybody else is thinking, but I have very little patience for women who invade male spaces strictly for the purposes of drawing attention to themselves. They come in under the guise of, well, we want to contribute to the conversation. No, sweetheart. You have your own forum. If you want to contribute, that's fine. This is a men's only group. Yes, we put it out on a public forum, but and listen, anybody can comment and say whatever they want, but we have the right to say, listen, your opinion is not welcome here. And we can say their opinion is not welcome. It doesn't matter. They're going to have their opinion. That's fine. But by the same token, we don't have to give credence to everyone's opinion. As a matter of fact, I would submit to you that we get more male detractors than even female detractors. And those are the guys that really piss me off. So that's my position on it. Carlos, where do you stand on this?
All right.
Well, I outlined 3 areas in which I think women can make valid contributions to the red pill. They can be examples for other women about what's required to be the mate of a red pill man. They can be cautionary tales of what happens to women if they make a series of bad decisions and by a stroke of luck become the Princess of England. And 3, they can be case examples of what we view as solipsism and other concepts. Now, I'm not against women commenting on what we do. I run an open comment section on my blog. I've, in the past, taken on discussions in my Twitter or in the comment sections of my blog when people ask questions or they want to discuss things, because I'm always open to hearing other perspectives. Now, it's not about excluding women specifically, but my requirement is add something of soundness and validity. And to go back to where this whole thing started, I haven't really commented on this, which is the Kitten Holiday situation that kind of set up this whole situation. Now, I didn't comment on it initially because I don't like giving someone clamoring for attention, but I gave her a good answer on the podcast. I interacted with her afterwards on Twitter and expanded on my answer. And I don't view that as excluding women from the space. However, I think you get the valid information from other men, and I think that 2 of the basic concepts in the red pill, so to speak, is A, female solipsism, and we can happily debate what goes into that or not. And number 2, it's the fact that we're founded on the fact of don't listen to what she says, watch what she does. And my example in my blog post today was very simple. If a woman, on one hand, is telling men, be a good, loyal man, be honorable, be beautiful, be a good beta.
Right.
And on the other hand, she's worshipping a CAD in the same fucking Twitter feed with 3 minutes in between.
There you go.
Then that exemplifies the exact thing I was just saying there. Don't listen to what she says. Watch what she does.
Okay, Jonathan, so what say you?
All right, well, dealing with 2 whole separate is a bit of an exercise here, but I'll respond to you first if I can, Donovan. You said that women come in looking for attention, and I don't disagree with that. Although I would say that it's probably a little bit more nuanced than that. I would say that, to my mind, there's at least 3 or 4 different things. Maybe they want attention. 2, the red pill, as far as I can tell, the manosphere, encompasses a larger subset of what you might call alpha males, or at least men who have their shit together. Right? We can say that.
Yeah, that
and women want to be around those kind of men.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they want to participate.
That's right. That's right.
And also, like as much as we like to say, generalities of like women are solipsistic, which that's a whole, that we can possibly talk about that. I guess Carla wanted to talk about that. Or women are this and men are like this. It's like yes, but there are a subset of women who can talk intelligently about it. As there's a subset of men. It's not a small subset. It's a massive subset of men who are totally idiotic and irrational about this.
Absolutely, yeah. They're called incels.
So my supposition here is that if you're interacting with people on Twitter, you have to take it at an individual by individual case. You can't say, oh, he's a man, she's a woman, so he's gonna be rational, she's gonna be irrational. And that's not even, that's not how we even talk about it on Twitter. The way we talk about it is like, is this person saying rational things? Is this person saying irrational things?
Well, as far as
I can tell, that's the way you do it.
Yeah. Well, listen, and you said you can't. You have to take it. You have to take it on a case by case basis. You can't group all women into one category. Sure, we can, and we do. See, here's the thing: we have a saying in the manosphere called "all women are like that." No, we're not saying that every woman is a carbon copy of each other, inside and outside. What we are saying is that while the hardware is different, the software all operates the same. Different women may have different versions of software. Some girls may have, iOS 3. Some girls might have Windows 10. But at the end of the day, the feminine hard drive is always working in the background. And listen, there's always a means to an end. Now, as far as being closed-minded is concerned, yes, I'm closed-minded when it comes to the opinion of women. Call me a Neanderthal, call me an idiot. This is who I am. Because here's the thing, man, and I am excluding women. I have no interest in hearing the opinions of women on male issues. Number one, because women give bad advice. Okay, women,
that's your option. That's your choice.
Okay, listen. Hold on. Yeah, right. But see, here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I think this way is because women give bad advice. Women don't give good relationship advice to other women, let alone men. Number one. Number two, women are self-destructive when left to their own devices. And if there's anyone listening to this who doesn't believe me, take a look around. When women are given any control over the sexual marketplace and control of themselves, they go apeshit. They're sluts, abortions, drug addicts, baby mamas, etc., etc., etc. Here's another point. Women don't even know how to be women. So why on earth would I listen to a woman who doesn't even know how to be a woman tell me how to be a man? Here's the thing. We've listened to women for decades. It's just like Carlos said. We're told to be, these, good, loyal men. Bring her flowers. Treat her this way. Tell her she's beautiful. You have to provide for her. Be loyal, and she'll be loyal to you. Well, men who do that quite literally get shit on by not only the women, they get shit on by the court system and society. So those guys end up taking it in the ass, and then they're still the ones to blame for it because vagina. Taking advice from women or listening to a woman's opinion about red pill topics is like taking diet advice from a fat guy. It's like taking financial advice from someone who's broke. Now, you mentioned the fact that women trying to get attention when coming onto male forums is nuanced, and that I would agree with you. But I would also liken that to sex. Sex is not just sex for women. Guys, we fuck to fuck. We want to fuck. We see a hot girl, we want to stick our dick in her. That's really it. With women, there is always a means to an end. Now, a girl might like fucking a guy because he makes her feel good and she wants to make him feel good. But there is always an ulterior motive. It's the same thing with women invading male spaces. They might think that they have something to offer. They might think, you know what, maybe I can advance this conversation. But in the back of their minds, they know they're getting attention from guys that you said yourself have our shit together. And listen, I don't blame these women trying to be around us. If I were a woman, I'd try to be around me too. That doesn't mean I have to let them in.
All right. Well, what I would say in response to that, well, I mean, most of what you're saying I don't find very disagreeable. So, in general, we agree on that. So let me, if I may, get back to kind of like the original point of contention, I guess you could call it,
yeah,
which was the treatment of red pill as a male space, which kind of relates directly to what you were saying. My issue is that it's a technical issue, right? So like you say, okay, well, if a woman says she, tries to talk to me about red pill stuff, I'm not going to have it because, call me a Neanderthal or whatever. That's how I am. And fair enough. That's your choice to make. But, nothing to prevent a woman from putting on a male avatar and, creating her own account where she talks like a man.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is like a lot of girls who are able to talk about red pill stuff to the extent that they can talk about it will often come off as more masculine than a lot of the beta guys.
I agree. Now that I agree with.
My contention is actually it's like it's like so maybe we can find some navigate some kind of pathway here where we can kind of understand each other. It's like I agree with the idea of male spaces, but you gotta, as far as I'm concerned, is like you gotta do them in places where it's actually feasible.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
You cut out. Not feasible.
Wait, hold on. You said you cut off for just a second. You said I agree with male spaces, and then you started cutting out. Start right there.
Sorry about that.
That's
yeah,
right.
I agree with the concept of male spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in as far as I understand, back in the 60s and the 50s, you had like gentlemen's clubs where men of all ages would congregate, and like the youth would learn from the elders, and they would get to interact with each other, and there was like this great bonding experience. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up finding Trinity of Excellence where I am now.
Okay.
But it's like you create a specific space for that, right? So like there's the Red Man. I'm gonna butcher the name. The Red Man podcast.
Yeah, it's the Red Man group. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which you control, and you get to you decide what calls you pick, and you get to decide whether or not someone even has a voice in the first place. And if you say, you know what, no women voices here, that's fine. I respect that. What it seems to me though is that with public forums, it's logistically impossible to say, you know what, no women in this conversation.
No, no, listen, that I agree with, but when a woman makes herself known, then guess what? Me personally, I respond in kind. And I'll tell you this too. It's interesting that you bring up this point, because there are a lot of women out there who have male avatars, and they talk about they talk about these male issues with us. But here's the thing. This is the interesting thing about women. Women always end up telling on themselves, right? Like it just takes a comment. It takes one little thought, and you think to yourself, okay, that's not something a man would say. And women who pretend to be men on Twitter to be involved with the red pill conversation, that's fine with me. But guess what? They know what they can and cannot say, because a woman who is posing as a man on a red pill forum will never ever say, well, not all women are like that. Man would never ever say that, at least not a man with red pill pill awareness.
I have watched grown men to my face say that kind of bullshit, and I can't stand it when they utter that kind of crap.
Well, here's the thing. When they do call in, I mean, unless unless she has a masculine voice like Brittany Griner, then we're going to know they're women, i.e., I'm not going to say her name, but yeah, as soon as, and again, I had followed this woman, or I had seen her exploits for 2 years. I already knew what she was about. It wasn't as, and what a lot of people, and I don't give a shit what people characterize as, oh, Donovan's a bully. Yeah, call me a fucking bully. This is who I am. But what they don't realize is that I've known about this woman's exploits for the better part of the last 2 years. So when she called in, I said, oh, here we go. I knew, and now she's trying to play the victim. And listen, she's blocked us all. Good riddance. But here's the thing. You make a good point about it being in a public forum, but I would also submit this to you. Gentlemen's clubs were also in public, and guess what? They hung a sign out on the door that said "No girls allowed." And women know that the red pill, any bona fide legitimate red pill community or red pill discussion, we're not, at least me, I'm not here for the female opinion. Listen, they've had decades and decades of giving us their opinion what's right. Listen, y'all's way isn't working. You guys are fucked up. You guys are fucking guys into the triple digits by the time you're 25 years old. Okay, you've got nothing to say to me. I tried following your advice. I tried following my own mom's advice. Didn't work. So, a funny thing happened on the way to finding out who I was. I actually listened to men talk about what it's like to be a man. So yeah, we're on a public forum, and yeah, women are going to comment because we are in a public forum. But guess what? I have a right to hang a sign right outside my treehouse that says "No girls allowed." If they want to ignore the sign, fine, do so at your own peril.
Well, let me throw it.
Well, and the nice thing about having a treehouse is that if a girl comes in, or if you have a gentleman's club and a girl comes in, you can also politely escort her to the door.
Yep, right? And that's exactly what I did.
Twitter, where that's not an option.
Well, listen. No, well, I don't know. It is kind of an option. We can sort of kindly escort her to the door by either blocking or telling her, "Run along, sweetie. Men are talking." And I kindly escorted, Ms. Holiday out the door when she tried to come onto a public space. But again, I want everyone to know that was my decision and my decision alone. Rollo asked her to come on. That's fine with me. If he wanted her to come on, that's fine. But he had the wrong dude at the switchboard, because I am not here for the nonsense.
Right.
I have absolutely
look, I don't have a whole lot to say about that scenario, because I've seen a few minutes of it. I'm not gonna it seemed like she was nervous and you were impatient, and
yep.
If you don't want to deal with that nonsense, that's fine with me. Honestly, the only criticism I would have is maybe there should have been more communication. I should have figured out religious, but whatever. That's not my deal. You guys, it's your podcast, not my thing.
Sure.
But as far as like Twitter is concerned, like yeah, you can block people. I agree with that, and like that is your right, and you can do it. And I don't really give a shit because it's not my account, right? But I would say, and this is just kind of like the weighing of the other hand, is it creates a certain perception when you do that.
Listen, we don't care. Listen, me personally, hold on. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't care about perceptions. If they want to say Donovan's a meathead, Donovan's a Neanderthal, Donovan's a misogynist, listen, you may be correct, you may not. Me personally, I don't give a shit about perceptions. I don't care. Honestly, dude, I could not give less of a shit what people think about the red pill community. Could not give less of a shit. I don't care. I just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, what you got?
So then it seems like we're somewhat agreed. Oh yeah. Carlos hasn't said anything.
No, my stance on it is that, most people describe me as a cantankerous, somewhat malignant bastard.
To put it lightly.
I don't give a shit about perception. I don't care how anyone feels. I care about truth. I care about intelligence. I care about ideas, and I care about my time. So what bothers me is when someone knows that they're going to call in, they call in, and they choke harder than Tony Romo during a playoff game. That bothers me. I haven't seen anyone choke that hard on a podcast call since something I think was called Throat Gagger 17.
Yeah,
and that's kind of my thing, because we have 4 or 5 guys on here. We're all taking time out of our daily lives to be here. Like, I have a book out, Donovan has his podcast, etc., but I'm here because I actually want to help other men learn from some of the horrible fucking mistakes I made in my life. Now, I will welcome anyone who has a perspective or an idea into the conversation, but I also ask that they respect our time and the time of the other contributors, the time of the listeners, in making sure that when you call in and when you take up time on the show, have a coherent narrative around what you want to ask a question about or what you want to contribute into the show.
Right.
And with Kitten, my issue was that I've gone back and I've listened to it multiple times, and my issue was it was drawn out.
Yeah, this was all on purpose. Yeah, it was nonsensical rambling.
Like, I liked the post that Red Pill Chick did, analyzing the whole situation. I thought that was a valuable contribution, and that was actually a good post. And that's a positive contribution to the conversation. What I have issue with is time wasting. And there's no way for us to lock people out of the space, because you have to make a choice. Either you want to reach as many men as possible, and I think that's
why we're on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube.
To reach a lot of men.
Right.
And then you have to leave things open, because I could put all my content behind a paywall. So could Donovan. So could Rollo. We could not market anything. It could be Fight Club.
Listen, the reason I have to put my content behind a paywall is because I got kicked off YouTube twice. So let's just keep it real there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that we could all put our content behind paywalls like Fraternity of Excellence.
Sure.
And that's not a dig on them. It's just we could all do that. But I would rather have a focus on getting the content out to as many people as possible and dealing with the trolls. That's not to say that I put a moat around my blog, and whenever a woman shows up and comments,
raise the drawbridge.
I have not deleted a comment on my blog in 3 years of running it. I'm willing to discuss anything. I usually do it on Twitter, but it's more or less a case of, if you're going to run your mouth, make sure something valid is coming out of it other than carbon dioxide.
And it's interesting. And Jonathan, by the way, man, I got to give you credit, man. A lot of guys come after me on Twitter, and I always issue the same challenge. Call in. Nobody ever does. Listen, there was one other guy that did it, and you're number 2. And I think that you and I are probably aligned on most of this, but I think that we probably disagree logistically, which is fine. I think we're aligned fundamentally. Real quick on what Red Pill Chick did on hers is when she put her post out, she did this on her forum. Yes, she did tweet out the article, but she did it on her forum. What a lot of these quote red pill women try to do, and listen, I agree with you, Jonathan. These women, at the end of the day, like that's what this is really about. They just want to be around guys who have their shit together. They want to be around guys who have a zero fucks attitude. They like that. The mistake that they make is that they try to challenge us for attention. Let me go. Listen, Rollo Tomasi's a fucking god in these parts. Of course he catches the most heat because he's the biggest, as far as I know, the biggest fish on the block. But you've got girls like Vera Stardust and Ash Perot 8 and of course Kitten Holiday. All they do is pick fights with red pill guys and just run their mouths for no other reason but that they want to get attention. They have no interest in helping anyone but themselves. Look at me. I'm going toe to toe with red pill guys. I'm a red pill girl. I have something to add to the conversation. No, you don't, sweetheart. You're 20, 22, or in Kitten's, I think, what is Kitten, 46 or 47 years old? Whatever the case may be, women have proven to us that they have no idea what it takes to be a woman or a man. So again, pardon me if I hang my sign outside my treehouse that says no girls allowed. Again, you can ignore that if you want to. We're in a public forum, but that doesn't mean I'm going to welcome you with open arms and a red carpet. If you step into the lion's den, you're going to get bit. I'll give you the last word.
All right, well, I mean, well, geez, now you're putting me in a position where I feel like I have to defend Kitten, and like I barely paid attention to the situation, so I'm not gonna say much because, oh man, like I said, I watched it, I watched the spat back and forth, and I was kind of like, all right, well, both people are being a little stupid, so that's about all I had to say regarding that thing. And I think you and I do agree on the generalities. I think it seems like the place where you and I differ most is that the way that I approach people is I simply say, look, you're an individual, I'm an individual, where do we meet? If the person says something stupid, they're gone. The person says something that's interesting or entertaining or logical, I will pay, I'll keep them around.
No, listen, I agree, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. If you go back and look at the musings of these red pill women, all of their comments are devoid of this nonsense. Let's say they'll make a couple of little comments not to get blocked, and then all of a sudden they're running off at the mouth. I just don't have time for that. I really don't. And dude, since when do women want to? Since when are women genuinely interested in helping men? Right? Women don't give a shit about other women, much less other men. So again, when women are only interested in things if men are interested first. Women wouldn't play fantasy football if men didn't play fantasy football. Women wouldn't like sports if men didn't like sports. This is why the WNBA is failing, because nobody wants to watch women's fucking basketball. Most women don't watch the WNBA. They watch the NBA. Women don't watch the lingerie football league. They watch the NFL. They don't watch softball. They watch Major League Baseball. We lead, women follow. And when women follow, just like Black Label Logic put in his post today, they want to infiltrate and sort of feminize it. They'll say, okay, well, we want to be a part of this. We just want to play too. Then it turns from we want to play too, to let's follow the rules. And then from let's follow the rules to we shouldn't be hurting anyone's feelings. No, fuck that. I don't give a fuck if I hurt. I don't give a shit about anybody's feelings. Dude, least of all women who think that they know that they're going to tell me what it means to be a man. I'll pass.
And yeah, you bring up an interesting idea, which I was actually kind of musing on before we got into this, before I called in, which is the idea of coming into men's spaces. I think you're right, that part of it is to get men's attention, to get to prove that they're a woman who can do something.
Sure.
Right? Because women, there's an interesting article I read a while ago that basically compared like a matriarchy to the board, where like if you have a group of women that are together, everyone has to be exactly the same. Like you can't have individuality within the group. Right. And if someone steps out of line, they get crushed like an ant. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought that was an interesting comparison. And where was I going? Because I had a thought that I wanted to say here.
Well, I will tell you this. I think I might know where you were going with that. Go ahead. All right.
So they come in. I think women like to push boundaries. And I'm sure you noticed it. Like I had this in my last relationship was actually awesome. Where it was a lot of fun for me and her is when like every once in a while she would do something that's like a little bit bratty, just to give me an excuse to put her in her place. Right, so it's a lot of fun for both on the side because, like, you know, within the sex of a man and a woman,
that's called
you know,
shit
like
testing.
you have to explore the boundaries constantly.
Right. And
I think what's happened is that in our society, the men have become so weak-spined that the women are there's a saying, weak men make angry women, and angry women make weak men.
Agreed. I agree.
So I think part of this is actually women are pushing out against the boundaries and it's saying like, oh, you're gonna let me get this far? Well, fuck you. I'm going to go a little bit farther. And you're not doing anything. I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to go. And they push and push and push. And then you end up with angry feminists writing the scum man. So we should kill that.
Yeah.
That's when I started the argument with you earlier today, because
put me in my place.
The core argument there is I'm enforcing a boundary here. I'm saying that, okay, if you're a woman and you want to come into the red pill space, you're welcome to come in here. You're welcome to shoot your mouth off. But the second you're not on point, I'm going to tell you to shut the hell up and leave.
Yeah, I've got to
lead her back towards.
I want to point out here that I wrote Black Label Logic for over 2 years before I ever went on a podcast. I do a podcast behind a voice modulator. How the hell does anyone here know that I'm not a chick sitting here writing this? The only people who know that are the guys on the Red Man group where I turn off the modulator after we go off air. So I'm here because of the value of the content. And a woman, if she provides valuable content, will also have room in the space. A woman who is here just to hound for attention and to use this as a niche sexual marketplace won't be.
Right.
Because it's like the men who tried to kind of come in and revolutionize the space and were all hot air and Twitter hype and did fuck all for producing content, they're still on Twitter creating Twitter hype and producing fuck all for content. The same place they were 12 months ago.
Listen, you actually make a very good point. Carlos and Jonathan, you actually made very good points. As far as women pushing boundaries, they want to push boundaries. Well, listen, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think it's interesting because it always starts small. First we entertain them on Twitter. Oh, we're going back and forth, blah 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 blah. You know, people talking shit, this and that and the other. Sometimes somebody gets blocked, sometimes they don't. Whatever. Then we opened up the phone lines. I think that was the second week, Carlos, that we had the phone lines open. 2 weeks in. Dude, 2 weeks in, we got our first woman calling, and surprise, it's the biggest fucking attention whore this side of Twitter. That didn't surprise me. And here's the thing: we're not trying to get the word out. We're not going into female spaces. I'm not calling up Ariana Huffington asking her to come onto her podcast. I'm not asking guys we fuck to go onto their pod. No. We have no interest in going to women's forums because we know that, I don't know whether we're welcome and I don't give a shit, but women know that they're not welcome here. And it's almost, I don't know, maybe it's human nature, right? Like drinking was never as much fun after you turn 21. You know, like it was always cool to drink in high school and maybe sneak a beer here in college, whatever the case may be. But as soon as we turned 21, you know, it's not as much fun. We know we can do it. I think this is a girl thing. I think this is sort of a girly immature thing. Oh, it's the red pill. It's the boy. They call it the boys' club. Listen, they can call it whatever they want. I don't give a shit. But the reason why they want in is because we know because they know we don't want them in. And I think that's part of the allure of getting our attention. Oh, look, we have their attention, but they're not pushing any boundaries because they're not really making any headway. We're not letting them in. And just because you write a few articles or just because you make a phone call or whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean we're giving you any credence. And again, I don't give a shit what women think. You guys can call me whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. It just doesn't matter to me. I'm not worried about public perception. And I think I speak for you too, Jonathan and Carlos. I think you guys will probably feel the same way. Jonathan, we're going to go ahead and wind this up. I'll give you the last word.
All right, yeah. Well, second last word, I think. What I would say is I think that one of the jobs of women, you might say one of the genetic things that women are predisposed to do is, and you'll find this interesting, they're actually compelled to test boundaries.
Yes.
Like, I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's something like society programmed them to do. I think that's what they do naturally.
I agree.
Which is why the masculine feminine polarity is so strong, and the way that it you feel it at its most powerful is when you especially when like a girl like starts to cross the boundary and you got to snap her back and be like, nope, No, that's not going to happen, and that's one example. It's not the only example.
Sure, but I got
and
you.
So we've had in the past 70 years now a society that's changing radically. The introduction of the internet, the introduction of women into workspaces, the introduction, like all these different things that have been compounding and compounding. And one of the what's going to happen naturally is that women are going to test all the boundaries that are all the places where there's new boundaries, and be like, okay, what's the rules for me here? What can I do here? What am I allowed to get away with here? Is there a new rule that's going to, I'm going to get in trouble if I cross this boundary? And so that's one of the conversations I think that needs to happen with the red pill is like, okay, so we have the internet. It's not just everyone gets together at a family house, and if a woman speaks out, then everyone casts, disapproving words, and then she knows that she's messed up. Like, we're not in that dynamic anymore. We're on the internet where you can cast an emoji. An emoji isn't very useful. They're all like, a little bit cute, they're a little bit weird, and so it doesn't have an impact. And so one of the things that we have to do is we got to figure out, it's like, what are the new rules? What are the new boundaries? And until we do that, we're going to have a problem where all the men and women we're not going to know what precisely to do with one another.
I don't think that's
something we have to explore. And I'm not.
No, listen. I mean, you make a very good point. Men and women don't really know what to do with each other in this day and age. But as far as boundary pushing, women have infiltrated everything. Women have taken over everything. Well, the red pill community, that is the last bastion of male space. There is no way they're taking over the red pill, and I think they got a double dose. I think they got a taste of what really happens when a female unwittingly wanders into the male space with the intention of maybe getting attention or maybe trying to get a foothold in the door. Dude, fuck those bitches. Jonathan, I appreciate you coming on. Carlos, thanks for the short notice. Listen, Jonathan, again, you have my respect, man. You called in, and I appreciate your time today, man. Take care. That is Jonathan, along with Carlos. And again, I'll give Jonathan a shout out. You guys can follow him on Twitter at Yay Capitalism. So I don't know, that'll give him maybe 15 or 16 extra Twitter followers. I don't know. Carlos, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, there you go. All right, Carlos. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I know you don't have that conference room for very long, but interesting discussion. I mean, I don't know if there was a resolution or whatever the case may be, but I think at the end of the day, women can push all the boundaries they want.
I think the main issue is the simple fact that a lot of these guys, they're not willing to, and women to some extent, they're not willing to point out specifically what they disagree with about the red pill. It's kind of like
only that they just disagree with it.
It's not like, oh, you shouldn't say the solipsism thing. Okay, let's discuss solipsism. Do you want to discuss it epistemologically? Do you want to discuss the metaphysics of solipsism? What do you want to discuss? Well, I just think solipsism.
It's wrong.
Well,
right.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I get to on these points. And Jonathan was cool. He called in. We had a decent
interesting discussion, man. He didn't go to the name calling like Jose did.
Let's get into the focus on it, because I want to know what specific parts of the red pill praxeology you disagree with. Because come at me on Twitter if you want to. I want to know specifically what part of the red pill body of knowledge, as I call it, do you disagree with? And I will be happy to blanket your ass in so many statistics that you will be seeing Excel spreadsheets until your grandchildren are begging to be released from this sweet grip of death.
I love Carl, dude. Listen, man, I love your analogies, man. Your analogies are absolutely brilliant. Basically, here's the thing: women who have a problem with the reason why women have a problem with the red pill is because it doesn't benefit them. We are making, just like Rollo says, you make yourself your mental point of origin. The red pill is all about making the man, yourself, the mental point of origin. The reason women have a problem with the red pill and the red pill praxeology and doctrines, et cetera, is because we're not. It's not about them. It's about us. Basically, it's not about them. Like, you guys are trying, and it's funny, they always make a bunch of comments like, well, you can try as you might, but you're never going to get laid doing that. Well, okay, but again, the red pill is about men, right? And listen, most people find the red pill because of heartbreak or sexual frustration. And we discussed this on the Red Man group the other day, Carlos. Dude, if you're fucking 16 different bitches, you're not going to find the red pill. If you're rich as fuck, you're not going to find, well, I don't know, if you get your heart broken enough times. But women is the gateway drug to the red pill. But when you take and digest the red pill fully, you end up realizing at some point down the road that, wait a minute, having access to beautiful women is just a side effect of living the red pill life. It's not all about women. And guys like us, me, you, Rolo, Ryan, the Red Man group, women know and understand that. And that's what they have a problem with. Wait a minute, you don't worship women? Oh my God, I can't believe that's what they have a problem with. They can't say it out loud. They can't admit it. They'll dance around the issue. They'll talk about this and that and the other. But when it comes down to it, the reason I don't like the red pill is because it's not about women. You guys don't put us first. You guys aren't thinking about us first. You guys are thinking about yourselves. It's because it doesn't benefit women. That's why women don't like the red pill, because it does not. Well, it indirectly benefits them because we're becoming better men. But again, we make ourselves our own mental point of origin. I'll give you the last word, Carlos.
Well, it's hard to follow that tangent. I mean, your rants are kind of legendary in the industry, so to speak. But I think the whole point of it is that whenever you gather a bunch of men and you tell them what to do, as in how to become great men, women will naturally gravitate towards the space because they see, okay, this is a space where I can nab a high quality man. Because what you have to keep in mind is, if a guy's been like a 3 or 4 his whole life, he comes into our hands and we take him and we get him lifting, we get his style straightened out, we get him some 1821 man-made for his beard. We hook him up with some decent game tactics and so on. That guy will go from like a 3 or 4 to about a 6, 7, or 8 in about 6 months to a year, depending on how much fat he has to burn off and how much muscle he has to gain. And what happens is, that guy is like someone who won the lottery, because he went from being broke as fuck to having a ton of money. And if you grow up rich, you get used to gold diggers and a bunch of people who are there to grab your money.
Right.
If you suddenly find yourself with $20 million, you have the money, but you haven't been trained to look out for the bastards who are there to take it from you. And same thing here. Like, if a guy has been banging like 2 or 3s for all his life, and like the hottest chick he managed to nab was a 4 sometime in college when she was blind drunk at a Virginia Tech shooting, then nabbing like a 5 or 6, even if she's approaching the wall so fast and is about to go through it, it's a blessing in disguise. He loses his head. Yes. But the reality is, if he holds off for 6 months, he'll have something a lot better. But she knows that if I leave this guy alone for 6 months, he's going to realize that I'm not shit. He's going to be able to find something much better.
There you go. Wow. I'd never even thought of it that way. See, listen, every time I talk to you guys, I learn something, man.
Opportunism. Women are opportunistic.
Yes.
I mean, they make Marlowe from The Wire look like some broke-ass bastard who didn't know shit.
Well, Carlos, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks for making the time. And listen, man, if you catch any other Twitter heat, man, let me know, and I'll bring him on, and we'll do the same thing, brother.
Sounds good, man.
All right, man.
See you later.
Carlos from Black Label Logic. Go to blacklabellogic.com. He actually has he actually just dropped an article. I think it was the one he talked about either yesterday or today. I actually just put it up on my website. I put it up on my Patreon. Obviously, you can't put that behind a paywall. It's somebody else's content, but I put that up on my Patreon, and it is, damn, where the hell did it go? What the hell was it called? I literally just had it up because I just read the whole thing. Here we are. It's called Of Reason and Red Pill Women. So go to my website. I've got it up on my website, donovansharpe.com. Go to blacklabellogic.com. It's the very first article there. Or you can go to patreon.com/donovansharpe. I've got his article featured right there on the front page of my Patreon page. Again, you don't have to be a patron to read it. It's just there for the public. Anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of Sharpe Shorts, this improv. Listen, if any of you guys out there have a Twitter beef or a Facebook beef or whatever the case may be, listen, man, I'm not here for the Twitter back and forth anymore. I'm not here for the Facebook. I'm not here for any of that stuff. If you have a disagreement with me, I'm not going back and forth with you on social media. You give me a call, 914-205-5356. Again, that's 914-205-5356, and we'll talk about this like men instead of bitching and arguing on fucking Facebook and Twitter and other social media like women do. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.